Hey everybody, November 2025 promises to be a fascinating month as we're going to have Mars, Mercury, and the Sun in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury is going to go retrograde and Jupiter is going to go retrograde, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So we're having some sort of major redirect, returnaround, redo, reevaluation and and making sure that we're in alignment because Saturn is also in retrograde and Saturn's going to go direct at the end of the month. So Saturn and Jupiter are making this beautiful trine, Mercury in retrograde. Now, all three of these planets are going to be in retrograde, making sure that we reevaluate, we go back and we redo something from the past that we've left behind, need to redo, need to learn better, or need to integrate more in our psyche before we can go forward when Saturn stations direct at the end of the month. All right, here we are at the beginning of November with Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius. Mars is going to oppose Uranus before it moves into Sagittarius here in a day or two, which will cause some sort of upset, possibly it can be a volatile, sudden violence, sudden upheavals, and it can be a shock and awe energy, crisis energy, and degree point of Scorpio. But other than that, the month looks beautiful after we get over that hump. But Mercury is going to start going retrograde here on the 9th, and then Jupiter follows in retrograde. And Jupiter is making this beautiful trine to Saturn, and the Sun will join that trine. Venus will join that trine in the month of November, which is a beautiful backdrop of harmony, calm, peace, blessings, intuitive intelligence, connecting, reflecting these energies because we've got all this retrogradation with Jupiter in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde. And then with that Mercury in retrograde, we're going back, we're reconnecting with people that we need to reconnect with, that are really a part of our future, that are a part of our Dharma. Sagittarius is all about our Dharma, being on our calling, being on our purpose, following a destiny, following a destined path. And then Jupiter is blessing that with long-term opportunities and abundance and expansion. But when it's in retrograde, we're really reevaluating and we're integrating what we have learned so far and really leaning on what we've learned and really seeing if we've learned it on a psyche level, that it's integrated as a part of who we are now. Planets go direct, we learn a lot. Jupiter direct, Jupiter retrograde, we go back and we discover what we have learned, what is real, what is solid in what we have learned that we can really lean on and use for our own personal expansion. So, Jupiter retrograde, ruling all these planets in Sagittarius. The Sun's going to go into Sagittarius in the 21st of November. And Mercury will be retrograde back into Scorpio, forming another opposition to Uranus, which could bring another deep secrets, revelations, people from the past coming in. Mercury retrograde, we're reevaluating people from our past, choices we made in the past that were not necessarily put us in the right direction. People we left behind that are part of that are really supportive of our true dharmic path that we need to go back and reconnect with. Ideas, projects that we may have not felt strong enough to do or courageous enough to do. Because remember, we have a Jupiter who is ruling all of these planets in Sagittarius, squaring Chiron, giving us the courage and healing us to be initiators and to start these dharmic callings and missions, or shall we say purposes, or what we're here to do, which is going to bring the world into a better place. When we follow our dharmic path collectively, we make heaven on earth, basically. So Jupiter and Saturn is making this beautiful trine, blessing us with opportunities and rewards, you could say, from the squares that happened before with Jupiter Saturn square, where we're now starting to see opportunities in the results of our efforts that will solidify and stabilize an abundant future for us, right? But with this retrogradation, we have to go back and fix something or reconnect with someone or redo a project or come back and reevaluate something we believe. Maybe we have a new belief system. Maybe we can do something now with our new belief, with that Jupiter squaring Chiron. We have the faith in it. Now we can go back and take on a project or take on a relationship or an idea. Go back, retrieve this this good thing that is going to improve our lives and expand our lives. And now we're going to bring it back into our journey, our forward destiny. And then when Saturn goes direct here at the end of the month, it really takes us forward on that, with that new aligned, shall we say, things that we retrieved from the past, people, ideas, projects. And then we're bringing them with us forward. Now, Jupiter's going to stay in retrograde. Mercury's going to go out of retrograde in December. Saturn's going to be out of retrograde in December, but Jupiter's going to continue its retrogradation, which means we're continuing to draw on what we have internally learned, and we're continuing to integrate wisdom, knowledge, experience. And it's a long retrogradation, but it is in its abundant sign of Cancer, so it shouldn't block abundance. It should continue to feed us abundance. Only we're really leaning on what an internal wisdom that we have developed in the last. Well, all of this journey began in December 21, 2020. So we've learned a lot. We've gained a lot of wisdom in our experience and in our learning. Jupiter is about learning and growing consciousness and awareness. So we've made a lot of new awareness, new knowledge. So now when Jupiter goes into retrograde, we then apply it. We then see, did we really learn something, or was it only head deep, or did it change who we were? Now at Jupiter retrograde, we see that it has changed who we are, and we now act from that internal place of knowing rather than external. So we have two lunations, as always, every month. We're going to have a full moon in Taurus on the 5th of November. And that is going to be a super abundant full moon, 13 degrees of Taurus. Super abundant full moon. Anytime you're going to get the moon in Taurus, we're really going to get some nice harvest, especially a full moon. We're harvesting. We're reaping the rewards on a full moon. We're seeing the results of some sort of a nice, abundant, strong, stable, long-term results from some sort of effort that we may have seeded in the new moon in May. So we're seeing sort of the harvest of that, and it looks very abundant and sort of we could say it's a very rich produce with a lot of nutrients, nurturing us to continue on this highly supported path that we're on by the universe, feeding us lots of richness. And then we're going to have a new moon in Scorpio on the 20th. And the new moon in Scorpio on the 20th is pretty intense because it's at the end degree point of Scorpio. So it's like kind of a crisis degree. So for some people, this could be a situation of sort of intensity, upset. But there's a crisis often at the end degree point. But again, it depends on your own personal chart, if it's giving you a harsh angle, but if not, it's a really beautiful new moon where we really clear old fears. With this Saturn, Jupiter trine, it's really supporting our forward momentum. By this point, Saturn is still in retrograde, but we're really finding some deep clearing, some purging of transformative of the fears, some deep fears that have been holding us back from taking our nice path, because it really does. This new moon is a part of that water trine, which brings us into a harmonic flow towards our destiny, a stable new future. So we're really breaking through some sort of deep fear, inner fear that's blocking our destiny with that new moon. And so this is a new moon, a new beginning from a newly healed, or shall we say, purged, brave, the end of that, because whenever you get to the end degree point, Neptune is making a trine to Neptune. So it's sort of some sort of a blessing as a result of having done some internal transformative work. We now have a new seed, a new beginning from sort of fresh soil. So very fertile new moon. And so that takes us pretty much to the end of the month there. Saturn stationing direct, I'm going to go into all the 12 signs now. Saturn stationing direct is going to bring a lot of forward momentum on top of the retrograde energy. So we get a nice, Saturn's been in retrograde, so things have felt possibly pretty blocked and slow and heavy. So then when Saturn starts moving direct, we start to feel it's a slow build momentum, which is really going to take strong traction in February when it goes into Aries. So we're realigning in these energies, getting back, making sure we're in the right path, in the right Dharmic destiny, with the right people, the right projects, the right ideas, so that when Saturn goes direct, we're in alignment, going forward with those things. And again, this is all with a reflective, with the month beginning with this retrogradation. We're really connecting with our higher selves, our souls, and really connecting with what our soul is here to do. And we're just finding the path forward, clarifying that path forward this month. And it will go very strongly forward by the we'll start to really feel a momentum start to build by the end of the month. All right, have a wonderful month. Namaste. All right, Capricorn, the month starts out with Uranus and Mars opposing each other in your 11th and in your 6th house. Mars will move into your 12th house on the 4th, and Uranus will move into your 5th and the 8th, well, where this opposition will continue throughout this first week of the month, which can bring upsets and confrontations in relationships, friendships, perhaps an argument on social media that you then block somebody or a relationship from the past. I'm sorry. So you end a connection, preparing you for a relationship that's coming in from the past with Mercury about to station retrograde in your 12th house. So this is a volatile energy that could be eruptive, disruptive. The positive on it is it does trine the Neptune in your 3rd house. So it does cause a breakthrough for you in your media, in your business, or your associates that are around you on a day to day. So there is a beautiful grand water trine happening in your relationship houses. So whatever disruption occurs during this week with Mars opposite Uranus, it seems to open a flow up for you. Perhaps you have more self-belief, more confidence. You're transformed in this experience, and it then opens up a flow for you for your relationships. You have a liberation, a spiritual liberation. You become more of who you are, and you open up the path for a connection coming in because Mercury and Jupiter are about to station retrograde. But before I get to that, let's talk about the full moon in Taurus, which is going to be in your 5th house, and that is going to be awesome. This is a beautiful full moon on the 6th, um, bringing you some sort of, now this is in your friendship house, in your connection house, in entrepreneurial or performing or um, in some sort of creative venture that you did collaborate with somebody. So Venus is about to go retrograde. Jupiter is about to go retrograde. Jupiter is in your 7th house. So this most likely involves a connection from the past coming back, bringing you some sort of abundant blessing result or just a collaborative venture. You and this person have a very abundant energetic balance between the two of you, which can cause a lot of financial abundance in the future because Saturn and Jupiter are your ruling planet, Saturn in retrograde. All of these planets are going to go in retrograde here in a minute. So we really are looking at people from your past coming in here, but that are part of your future. But this full moon in your 5th house, honestly, is super abundant, super good luck, super auspicious connections and ventures that you are collaborating with that really look very promising for you. Now, here we go into these big retrograde energies where Jupiter is retrograde in your 7th house. So that is going to bring a connection with somebody from the past. Mercury retrograde in your 12th. This could be a past life connection, like a twin flame or true love, somebody that you have been in separation from. Now, if you haven't met this person already, perhaps you do meet this person with that Uranian, by the way, the Uranus oppositions, Venus is coming up. That could be where you meet your true person. So these are energies where you're either meeting a connection from the past because your planet is about to go direct here at the end of the month, and it is your ruling planet, and it will involve a very big new chapter initiating in February, January, when it moves into Aries. You're going to start feeling this momentum building in your life towards a whole new chapter. And this relationship is most likely your true long-term committed new partnership of someone in the past that you may have been in separation from, or it is someone from your past life. Now, if you are in your already long-term committed, true destined relationship, there will be some sort of going back to the past with your partner and evaluating or taking on a past project that you guys want to do together, or it can be past clients coming back from your past. Seventh house can be clients. Um, so yeah, so that takes us this beautiful grand water trine, blessing your relationships, causing flow and abundance and stability in your long-term future through relationships. And what you really desire, that seventh house, something you really desire, someone you really desire, comes in from the past and you become very stable and committed with, probably by the time Saturn stations direct at the end of the month. All right, so now we're going to go to um, so Jupiter retrograde in your seventh house is actually powerful for your relationships because when Jupiter was direct, you would in your seventh house, it isn't an exalted energy, so it's very positive, making this beautiful trine to Saturn, causing long-term positive results from your efforts and from what you've learned. And when Jupiter was in your seventh house, you learned a lot about relationships, around karmic energies, because Saturn in retrograde is ending at the end degree point of Pisces, is ending karmic patterns. So this is really connected to your relationships. You're really purifying, you're detaching your attachments to relationships. You've learned something big about relationships, which is really integrating in you right now with this retrograde Jupiter until March, where by the end of March, when Jupiter stations direct, you draw abundance from your new ability to be from what you've learned internally about relationships, and it's really working for you. So it's going to build a strong bond for you here because of these lessons you've learned. So that is the Jupiter retrograde in your seventh. And then we've got this beautiful new moon in Scorpio in your 11th house. So you could either surprisingly meet somebody if you haven't already. But again, this theme is going on about relationships. Fifth house, Uranus, this new moon opposing your fifth house. You could end a friendship, end a connection, or you suddenly meet somebody online that is your true person. Mercury retrograde. You could have connection from someone from your past. Again, same theme. Jupiter is in retrograde. This is a big theme for you. Um, or a client and collaborative venture from social media, a media project is really a big part of your destiny, really starts to show you a lot of results and a stabilizing effect in your life. Um, so yeah, so did I, yeah, so this new moon in Scorpio is a new media venture or a redo of a media project from the past, or reconnecting with a tribe from the past, finding your past life mate, because it's conjoined very close to Venus there. Um, and with this, now this leads me to Saturn moving direct in your third house. This new moon then brings you direct motion in your third house. So some sort of momentum and media project and co-collaborative efforts start to go forward, and they start to really bring you results. You kind of see a really strong momentum moving forward and a future of stability coming into sort of, you could say, because Neptune is there, sort of starts to take a definition, it starts to make a shape. You can see. All right. Well, have a wonderful month, Capricorn. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. And if you would like a personal reading, feel free to contact me at soullevels.com. And namaste. Thank you for watching.